Happy Monday, everyone. This is the Furniture Duchess, live from Atlanta, Georgia. We've got a rainy day in Georgia. Today is day 3 of the Furniture Flip Challenge. The theme again is romanticore or coquette. And we've got our piece prepped, primed, and now we get to start putting some paint on it. So my plan is to paint the base pink. We're going with a very romantic flavor. I couldn't decide between lavender and pink, so we're going to try pink first and see what we think of it. So again, with chalk paint, bottle of water, you're going to be misting your brush, you're going to be misting your surface from time to time, you're going to be misting your paint. Water is your friend with chalk paint because it's a thicker paint. And again, a little goes a long way. You want to use definitely thin coats and get coverage. Probably take with pinks. See, I primed, so hopefully it's going to cut short some of the layers that I'll have to do. But usually with pinks, you got to do like 3 coats. I've done even 4 from time to time, but pink just has a different pigment. If you're painting in blues or greens, you definitely can get, or purples, dark purples, you can get coverage in a lot less coats. But in this particular case with pinks, reds, you need more. So that's where we're going with this. And I got my baby wipes in case I made a mistake. And we are just going to get some paint on this. So pretty much with chalk paint, you don't have to paint all in one direction. If you don't want to, if you want to get a little texture in it, you can stipple the paint on, which I do use some stippling motions to get it into all the crevices. And I'm going to be painting this backwards since I'm left-handed. But pretty much we're just going to get it all covered in pink and see what we think of that. I still believe my plan is going to be in these little crevices to use some kind of a decoupage paper. I've got one that I'm thinking about that I think has got some pretty colors in it. And just to kind of pretend like these are windows and do that section with a paper. But again, we're going to start out with solid coverage. I did do 2 coats of the primer, which I was really happy of. The second coat, I actually stuck her on her back and painted that way, which was really nice because it laid all of these crevices, you know, face up so that the paint would sink down into them and make sure that there was no holes or spots where they were still brown. So, and this definitely, as you can see, the gray is peeking through on the first coat. So you know definitely one coat's not going to do it. But that's okay. That's part of the plan. So we're going to do this. I did also tape off, which I did off camera, my lock mechanism, my hardware. And bear with me for a second. We can get this puppy open. Sure we are. All right. And the other thing I did is I taped off my edges on the top to make sure I didn't have any paint going where it doesn't need to go, because the inside here again is cedar and does not need to be painted. But I've got a bit of a lip on here that I want to cover. So that is what we're going about doing. Let me think, what else haven't I told you? When I'm painting, I always think of 10,000 things that I could be telling you as far as hints. But you'll notice that when your paintbrush gets dry or if it starts pulling at all, you know that you've got to get some water on it, some more paint on it. And when you start painting like this, you're going to end up, you're looking at the top of my head, unfortunately, but you end up in contortionist positions to try and get all of your surfaces covered. Another thing that I did off camera is I fixed the missing veneer that was down here. and it is just about good as new. I don't know on the base that I'm gonna leave that pink as well, but I also go and paint the inside of the legs. And that's because I think, you know, if you can spot something when you're looking at it, I sure don't want it to be looking like it's unfinished. So that's just one of the things that I'm funny about. So I will get a lot of the inside corners, and sometimes I turn the piece upside down and paint the underneath part, or at least a portion of it if I think it's going to show, or I think that it's going to make a difference. I usually don't paint the back of a piece, although once in a while I've been known to do that. So again, it just depends on the piece in question. And trying to see if we can get enough of this done so you can get a feel for what it's going to look like before we're done with this video of the pink. And like I said, you're not looking for perfect coverage. You're just looking to try and get as much paint on the surface as you can in a smooth fashion. No drips, no lumps. And that is my goal. But you do want to take your piece, like I said, sometimes you got to go upside down with it. Chairs especially, those are notorious for starting to paint them upside down and flipping them over. So you make sure that you're looking at them from all angles, because you'd be amazed after you get done with a piece. If you haven't looked at it from all angles, you'll find spots you've missed. So we'll get the side here, because I think the side will give me a really good feel. And it doesn't take very long to get a nice flat side. And the brushes I'm using, that's something to talk about. You want a decent brush. I'm using a synthetic brush. There's natural hair brushes and there are synthetic brushes. And bear with me, let's see if I can show you the difference. So you've got something like this that looks like horsehair or animal hair, and then you've got this that's synthetic. So there, again, a lot of different brushes you can use. I kind of like this fan brush because it will poke into some areas, especially corners, that are sometimes hard to get at. But you can spend a lot of money on brushes. I mean, you really can. There are brushes you can spend $30, $50 a pop on. And there's brushes that you can go to, you know, the big box stores and, you know, spend $4 or $5 on. A good, inexpensive brush. Oh, I don't have it handy. I'll see if I can take a peek at it on my shelves. But these are zebra brushes. And they've been working pretty well for me. This particular one, I feel like there's a couple of the bristles that are coming out, which I'm not happy about, but I'm not doing a precise job on this first coat, so I'll probably switch over to another one. I think it might have just been a lemon over brush. But as you can see, it gives you nice smooth coverage. When you paint, you want to make sure you're painting with the tips of your brush. You don't need to get much paint on your brush. You don't want to dip it all the way in. That's just a recipe for disaster. A little goes a long way in the painting world with chalk paint. So, and like I said, I'm going to get this a little bit, but I will definitely go off camera and do the contortionist and get underneath in all these hidden spots and really make sure I catch the underside of these little decorative edges. I mean, I tell you, it's just amazing what you miss. When you're looking at it from one way, you got to look at it from all different angles. So that is that. So that's kind of one section. Hopefully you can get a feel for how that looks. And like I said, coming over on this side, you definitely, you see so much that you miss. It's just amazing. You want to get underneath the lips, you want to get up in the corners. And so I'm just going to keep going to town, and I will see you guys later when it's time for coat 2. See ya.